Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Join me right here on the SHR Media Network every Monday and Friday, 12 on the Pacific, 3 on the East Coast. On this show, we'll discuss news, politics, the government, how cranky we are about the government, and more. If you want to hear hard talk, good interviews, sarcasm, bad jokes, and oh God, that really is me in a nutshell. Either way, check me out right here on the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Friday, 12 Pacific, 3 on the East, on the SHR Media Network. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Edge of Liberty on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Monday and welcome to the Monday Midday Disaster. So much to talk about today. If you're on YouTube, if you're in I'm already getting harassed via chat. It's going to be nice and if you're not in chat, you can go to Rumble, get in chat. You can go to YouTube, get in chat. Facebook, also get in chat. And Twitch. I am monitoring the X chat right there as well. So if you're part of the show, you can also like and subscribe on any of those and all of those platforms. That would greatly help us out in the future. First, we're going to start off a lot to talk about. We're going to get into October 7th. We're going to get into Helene. But I do want to start with what's most pressing and is really going to be scary. It's Hurricane Milton. This is coming from the National Weather Service. I don't want to give up my music. There it is. This is coming from the National Weather Service. And man, Florida, I said it before, I'll say it again. I know what you folks can endure. I know you're stout. I know you're ready. I know you're able. But by God, man, be careful. This is frightening. It's just, and it's coming for the Western. Oh, where are you? There we go. It's coming from the western side of Florida. It's being forecast a Category 5 when it's going to hit, and then even a Category 1 when it goes back out to sea on the other side. Still some questions as to where it's going to go. I know some models are showing that it's going to hug the coast all the way up. Some other models are showing it's going to go back out to sea. But almost all the models are showing that it's going to be a direct impact on the west side of Florida. Hunker down. I know I watched your governor's speech this morning, getting ready for it. Looks like, as always, he has everything ready to go. And like I said, I can't ask for a better governor. I really believe that, especially for Florida. You cannot ask for a better governor. And just, like I said last week, when it comes to Helene, just do what you're told, please. Just listen, pay attention, have your batteries, have your water, have your food. If you expect to be without power, expect to be without power. Act accordingly. Make it so you have your best shot. Look at this right now. Holy cow. That's crazy. Make it so you have your best shot to survive. Like I said, I know you folks down there are ready for anything, and you act. And you always just muscle this stuff out. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm not kissing ass to Florida to kiss ass to Florida, but it blows my mind how well you folks, and not just the government. I know the government can handle it. Like I know they have experience, but man, the people there, and even like I said, Jersey Joe is originally from New Jersey. He's right. I mean, target's right on him. He's getting ready for the show, for the hurricane, not the show tonight. He probably won't be doing his show tonight, and nobody can blame him. But he's like, yeah, just probably going to go out and board it up. And he's a transplant. It's not like he's a native Floridian who grew up with this. He's a transplant. But it's funny how quickly you folks get everything ready to go and get ready to just survive. And like I said, you're fortunate. You have a state government who has dealt with this enough that their pre-planning's in place. They pre-position. They know where to position stuff safely, where to position stuff so it can be in right after the storm. Like they have this down to a pattern. DeSantis and company does a great job with this, which is fantastic. But it's also one of those things that it's still scary, man. It is still scary. So I wish you guys well. Obviously, we still have a little time before it hits. Supposed to be hitting, I think, 7 p.m. Wednesday night. The overnight storm makes it even more scary. Not saying it's easier during the day, but it's definitely more frightening at night, I would think. Somebody said, get to work. And then the chat room, hard work, constant hard work, the kind of work that makes you sweat and tell the truth, the kind of hard work that makes you feel good at the end of an hour. Look, you're going to get at least 70% out of me for this hour, for those in chat that are giving me a hard time. 75%. I'm really going to push it today. Of course, today is also the anniversary of the October 7th attack in Israel, where over 1,000 people perished, and the barbaric, horrific attack that took place from Hamas onto innocent Israeli citizens, folks at a music festival, folks that were in their kibbutz, folks that were in bed, women, babies. They were also taken hostages, which some hostages, Americans as well, are still being held. Israel is waging an all-out war right now against Hamas and Hezbollah to the north. I know there was a lot of, and if you see me watching off to my right, I have a couple video feeds going from the Middle East, specifically Beirut and Israel. Only because, man, how would you like to be like the number 7th or 8th guy in line to lead Hezbollah right now? I mean, seriously, you got to be sweating. I mean, let's break this down. And Israel, man, I've said before, I'll say it again. You can argue with me all you want. I don't want our boots on the ground. Full stop. However, I fully support Israel going to town on this. I really do. If I was Israel, I'd do the same thing. So, and I don't care what international pressure has led them back to October 7th. That's something people miss. Like, yeah, they cut the deal with Hamas that lasted for a few years before the 7th attacks. But part of that was because international pressure constantly says you have to be nice, you have to play nice, you have to play nice, you're the state, you have to play nice, you have to play nice. And October 7th was the result of playing nice with people who want you dead. You play nice with people that are nice to you. And I understand I hate reliving this every time we talk about it, but I know people would be like, well, you got to understand it's just Hamas and not the Gazans. Yeah, I get it. So if you want the Gazans to really be heard, the actual people in Gaza, then why wouldn't you want Hamas eliminated? Same thing with Lebanon. They can say all they want about Lebanon being a sovereign nation, but Hezbollah is clearly running Lebanon. Other than that, it wouldn't be going on right now. This wouldn't have to happen. Hezbollah would not have a foot in the ground. Never mind essentially owning the entire southern portion of Lebanon. And Israel's taking it to them. And I don't blame Israel. I don't care what anyone says. And next up, I'll tell you right now, and there's reports coming out of the Middle East all over the place, not just social media, intel reports that I've seen that were sent to me from other people that I'm not going to share because I was asked not to. But tonight might not be the best night in Iran. It is 10 p.m. local time in Israel, 10:30 in Iran. It's the anniversary of October 7th. Everything goes back to Iran. We can talk all day long about, oh, they shouldn't attack. You hear the State Department, oh, it should be a limited strike back towards Iran, and we should watch this and watch that. No. Iran is responsible for Gaza and Hezbollah, or Hamas and Hezbollah, rather, and the Houthis that we just bombed a couple days ago. They're the reason this attack happened, is Iran. And just, 4 days ago, they unleashed 200 cruise missiles, or 175, whatever the final number was. Now, if I was Israel, if I was Netanyahu, I'd be doing the same thing. Like, we're done playing this game. So a lot of memorials. If you have a second, do your own moment of silence. Go for it. Innocent babies, kids at a concert. Like, October 7th was just absolutely horrific. And I remember seeing a report that if you scaled up population to match Israel's to the United States, it would be like if 40-something thousand Americans were killed that day and a couple thousand taken hostage. And like I said, there's still hostages there. So, man, that's what's going on there. A lot of news today, a lot of news. Let's see, where are we going to go next? Oh, yes. One of my least favorite individuals, but we have to talk about her because we have to. I don't want to. I really hate doing this to you lovely people. I'm not going to lie. I do, because it's not fair. Nobody should be subjected to this, but I'm sorry. Here we go.
If the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm. But if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control.
We lose total control. That's really what they're scared of. They lose total control if it's not monitored, if social media is not monitored, if your First Amendment rights are not limited. See, this is that other brain game that liberals, specifically these progressives who are in charge. And don't get yourself wrong. Hillary Clinton came out, a month ago, saying that she was advising the Kamala campaign. She is among the group that's in charge. Yeah, there's Obama still pulling strings. I know all of that. But they are petrified of social media, specifically X. They won't say just X. It's X that bothers them because Elon Musk owns it. By the way, everybody railing on Elon because he joined Trump in Pennsylvania Saturday. And everyone said, oh, he's just a rich guy. He's just a rich guy. Why should he have all this influence? Alex friggin' Soros and George friggin' Soros. That's why he should have the influence that he does. Because just because they're doing it subvertly and he does it overtly does not mean that for years they have not poisoned the political waters in this country. And they have. This is not up for debate. Soros just bought those 200 radio stations. He bought some last year or 2 years ago during the 2022 midterms. Why do they want to limit free speech? Because of X. And you've seen it out of Frankenstein Kerry. You've seen it out of other people. And they equate it, and even what's his name? Tim Waltz. What's his name? That wasn't even intentional. He is so meaningless to me. I could not pull his name out like I can a lot of other people. He equated it to yelling fire in a theater. Well, you can't yell fire in a theater, right? 1919 Supreme Court case, Schneck versus the United States, where Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes used the analogy as to define a limit of freedom of expression. However, what they don't tell you when they bring up the fire in the theater clause is that it had to do with people running out of the theater and being trampled, hurt, or worse. Right? Nobody's running out of X and tripping over each other. Nobody's running off of YouTube and tripping over each other. It is not a threat to anyone's public safety that is imminent. There's a lot of things that leftists say all the time on social media that is untrue, exaggerated, complete lies, altered, scripted, edited, over and over and over. Do we call them out on that when it happens? Absolutely, yes, and we should. That's what we do. Me as a pundit, you as a pundit, everyone on X is a pundit now. I mean, let's face it, and that's great. I'm not belittling that. I actually am glad that so many people have these voices and can call them out in their BS. But I would never say that I want them limited to what they can say. Why? Because it is so quick that could be used against me, specifically me. I'm worried about me when I say that, right? How do I know that happened? I was trying to start this network under the old Twitter. And by the way, she dead named Twitter. I didn't think they were allowed to do that. Neither, or X. I didn't think they were allowed to do that. It's neither here nor there. Facebook. All of the social media sites, YouTube run by Google, all the social media sites that were throttling conservative voices, and we know that through the Twitter files. This is not up for debate as to whether or not it is allowed or not allowed. You have to allow. It's the First Amendment. Why do you think that case out of California just got thrown out? Right? You know why the case in California just got thrown out, or there's an injunction on it, but it's going to get thrown out totally. The don't say memes clause, as I like to call it. The one Gavin tried to pass because he got butthurt. Because it's illegal. It is illegal to limit the First Amendment. And the First Amendment doesn't mean you can walk up to somebody while they're in public and cuss in their face and disturb their peace. Now, your rights only go as far until they impact others. That's really how it works for individual rights, until you infringe on somebody else's individual rights. However, you have the right to protest government. You have the right to lawful assembly. You have the right to go on any. It's no different than if you started a newspaper and wanted to print whatever you want. You can do that. Not that anyone would start a newspaper these days, but it's no different for social media. Free speech, much like the Second Amendment, started with rifles and muskets and now applies to all of the weapons that you see out there today that are just glorious and beautiful, and I want to buy so many more. But it also applies the same technology change for social media. You know who wanted to limit the free speech of the revolutionaries? King George. England. Why? They were rabble rousers. They were no good. And going back to the clause of the fire in a theater, I'm going to play this. This is not mine. It is from YouTube, but this is a classic. And I want you to listen I just want you to listen and tell me if you know what this is from. And if you do, I applaud you. But we'll talk about this for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News. At 20 minutes before 8 Central Time, Professor Farrell of the Mount Jennings Observatory, Chicago, Illinois, reports observing several explosions of incandescent gas occurring at regular intervals on the planet Mars.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was, of course, the H.G. Wells adaptation, narrated by Orson Welles for the War of the Worlds broadcast in 1938. 1938. scared the bejesus out of everybody that was listening. They thought it was legit. They thought aliens were invading. They thought it was all coming to hell. People tried to file lawsuits after the fact, and they all got thrown out because it's protected free speech. There was no imminent threat to anybody because it is protected free speech. Even the FCC investigated and found no violations because it is protected free speech. Once government convinces you that your rights come from them and not natural law, natural rights, once they convince you that government can limit your natural rights, they're winning. And you're going to let them win unless you do something about it. Stand up. We're up against a break. When we come back, we talked about a little bit about the election. We'll go to Butler and some other places. Stay tuned. Right here on the Edge of Liberty on the SHR.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome to River of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp wit and clear discussion. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality as we fearlessly tackle the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch River of Common Sense in action. He's here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Edge of Liberty right here on the SHR Media Network. Find us on all the social media apps, YouTube, Rumble, right here. And follow me on X at the number 2 against tyranny. Please like and share this if you can. Help a brother out. Just a little tiny conservative network. We're just trying to make our difference. Trying to preserve as much of this republic as we can. If you look wrong side, if you look over there. If you like anything, you want to buy me a cocktail, I'm not shy. Love me some bourbon. Feel free to kick a little bit. I would greatly appreciate you. So I do want to talk a little bit about some of these betting numbers and poll numbers that are coming out here in the 2024 midterm election. Before we go any further, I will tell you right now, do not have a short memory. And before you say, what do you mean? Well, there was supposed to be a red wave in 2022. Remember we were told that and people stayed home? People stayed home, folks. They stayed home and it was allowed to happen. Why did they stay home? Because the poll numbers, social media, everybody was telling you. I mean, for God's sakes. Oh, no, that's a red wave. We got this in the bag. Got this in the bag, red wave. Y'all were listening to CNN, MSNBC. Where's that red wave now? What do we have? A difference of 3, 4 in the House of Representatives? I forget what it is right now. But the simple fact of the matter is we got complacent. We didn't keep foot on gas. We didn't add the nitrous. We didn't push to the end. We didn't make it embarrassing. And we should have. We absolutely should have made it embarrassing. The fact that we didn't, let me get that out of the way. The fact that we didn't make it embarrassing is embarrassing. So then this year, and I don't remember this. If I'm wrong, somebody in chat tell me. But if I'm wrong, I'll own it. Do you remember betting odds being such a big deal as they are during this election cycle? The odds of who's going to win and who's going to lose over in Vegas. And I understand that money's on the line. And everyone's saying, well, you know, I see this argument a lot is, well, polls are one thing, but betting odds are much different because, you know, there's money on the line and they're not going to give up money. Okay. Have you ever seen the betting at the NFL, the NBA, all this other stuff where there are plenty from chat, ladies and gentlemen. You're wrong there. I told you. I really appreciate that. There are plenty of things that you can bet on. There's some questionable authenticity to the outcomes of those events. Remember, people that run betting websites, people that set these numbers, whatever, they're trying to make money too. Las Vegas was not built on the victory and cheers of people winning money. Las Vegas and every other casino was built on the tears and money of losers. I have been a loser in Las Vegas. I have been a loser in Reno. I've been a loser in a lot of different places. I do enjoy to gamble from time to time, but I understand the risk, and I also understand the house has the advantage. There's a few games where it doesn't, I know. Poker, stuff like that. But most games, the house has the advantage. What's the line from Only Idiots Buck the Tiger? Yeah. So when I see numbers like this, there it is. When I see this come out and it shows, and obviously it shows you back the trend all the way back to October 1st. These are the poly-market betting odds. And you see right now, Trump is favored at 54% over 45% for Kamala Harris. And there are people saying, oh, we got this in the bag. I already see it on social media. Have we learned nothing, ladies and gentlemen? Have we learned nothing? CNN this weekend, one of the commentators was like, I don't know if she can win this. There's another one. Election forecast. I don't know if she can win it, the left is saying. The left who, wasn't it just, I don't know, 2 weeks ago telling us that she can't lose? Wasn't it just a couple of days ago that they were telling us she has this in the bag? And then something happened. The woman running for Michigan Senate, Slotkins, or from Senate for Michigan, sorry, came out and gave a little report that the internal polling for Kamala in Michigan is not good for Harris. And I said when I saw that right away, oh, it's a false flag. This might be a false flag. Either for fundraising or to rally more voters. Either way, I don't trust that to be the truth. And there is a reason for that. Because we've been lied to before. And I see it on social media like crazy. Oh, we're pulling ahead. We're winning. Polls say this. Polls say that. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but take your polls and shove them. Because I'll tell you right now, and as the conversation was in the chat room, polls are unreliable. Polls are entirely unreliable. What was it, a month before the 2016 election? Hillary was up by some ridiculous margin. They were telling Trump supporters and Trump voters, don't even bother. And that's what they want you to do, as chat just pointed out. To either make you think that you're winning so much that you can take the day off on election day, or make you think you're losing so badly. How is it that on social media, I can watch and read people say all day, don't trust polls, don't trust mainstream media, don't trust pundits on the left, don't trust this, don't trust that. And then when they see a number they like, they're all over it. Yes, I will retweet them for conversational portions, but I'm not buying into any of them. You cannot buy into them. Because it's burned us before and it will burn us again. I'll tell you right now. I said this in the response to a comment. I said, look, you got to just keep your foot in the throttle. We have to make it an embarrassing referendum. Just embarrassing. Because if we don't, odds are we'll regret it. Now, like I said, is it a problem when Kamala is going on YouTube sites like Call Her Daddy, which all of a sudden is a political talk show, even though a couple of weeks ago it was all about sex, which I don't care. I don't care that podcast exists. Good for the woman that runs it. I hope you make money off of it. I hope you do well. I'm a capitalist. I believe if there's a market out there and you can find a way to make money off of it, go for it. I am a capitalist. I support it. My problem is when the current vice president and the person who committed a coup in order to be the nominee and never got a vote, still hasn't gotten a vote, is going on that website less than a month, or that YouTube channel less than a month before an election. It's desperation, in my humble opinion. And I'm not the only person that thinks so, because there were a ton of comments apparently on that page. Haven't watched that particular interview yet. I watched clips. I didn't watch the whole thing front to back because I mean, I hate to say it, but I already know how that interview is going to go. Oh my goodness, you're a female vice president. Yes. Tee-hee-hee, joke about Doug and snuggling. What is your talking points? And I will do nothing to push back on anything you say, tee-hee-hee. And I don't say tee-hee-hee because it's a female interviewer. I would say tee-hee-hee if it was a male interviewer. It's just I am an idiot. I'm not going to press you, and I am not going to do anything but let you spout out what you have memorized and you were regurgitated over and over. So I don't blame the woman who hosts it and has the podcast. Good for you. You got a presidential candidate, right, wrong, or indifferent. Look, again, free speech, right? I'm the same thing. If Donald Trump wanted to come on my show, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't, right? So why would she say no? But here's the problem. She went from never speaking to anybody. And then internal polling must have said, yeesh, we got to do something. So what they're going to do is they find her Colbert and all these other places that she's getting ready to do, these absolutely 100% safe, not press conference situations where she's allowed to regurgitate over and over and over her talking points that she has memorized. And they're just going to hit it. And that way they have their talking points on tape. And idiots like Kamala HQ and all the other ones on next can go, oh, look, she's doing interviews. She's doing interviews with Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert is the guy that had a whole bunch of dudes dressed like needles dressing to support vaccination and considers himself a semi-serious interviewer. And he's not. You know, that I think that's the difference with late night talk shows. And I'm going to go on this rant here for a few minutes I wasn't expected to go for. Late night talk shows used to just give everyone a hard time equally, right? They'd point out the funny things that any of them were doing, and they would absolutely be funny. And I'll tell you right now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. The old Daily Show with Jon Stewart, even when the pre 9/11, post 9/11, I've said this on Sackheads. His first show post 9/11 was one of the most moving monologues that I saw for all of 9/11. But they went after everybody fairly equally. Yeah, it was a little bit jaded at times, but it was back and forth enough where you could have a sense of humor about it, and nobody was taking what they were saying so seriously that it was changing people's minds. Everybody used to be able to take it with a grain of salt, and that's when you had satire and comedy, and I was okay with that. Right? Some of the things Jon Stewart said back in the day on that show were actually very funny. Jon Stewart used to be a very funny man. Even now in his return, and he's the only one who really does it. The other ones are starting to do it a little bit because he co-hosts now with like 4 other people. It's host by committee type thing. But he's still pointing out some of the funny moments. He has his agenda. He wants to prove his Democrat talking points, etc. But it used to be like that all the time, where they just went after everybody and we all had a good time with it because we should laugh at ourselves. I'm okay with laughing at ourselves. Look, my friend asked me why I always wear a hat in the podcast. I'll tell you why, because I'm bald underneath. Make fun of yourself. It's okay to know your shortcomings. But the simple fact of the matter is, these late night shows now are nothing but propaganda machines. And we've seen it because they all had Biden on at one time or another, and nobody came out and made fun of him afterwards like, oh my God, he really should be in a home. And they all knew it. By the way, speaking of should be in a home and Biden, apparently he's still president because I saw a video for him on October 7th where it said President Biden and Dr. Joe Biden. She must have found time between ER visits to make a video. Satire. I know she's not a medical doctor. But Karine Jean-Pierre, you remember her. She's been the one who's been lying since the ginger there over on MSNBC resigned. And she comes up with her big book of binders and doesn't answer any questions ever. Just got promoted, and this is the most ironic, but not ironic. It fits, but it's crazy. She was just appointed to a senior advisor for President Joe Biden. Now, stop laughing. Stop it. Stop it. Please. Thank you. She was only appointed to this as for her career after the fact. Look, it's October. January, she's out the door one way or the other. It does not matter who goes in. She will not be the press secretary. So now when she writes her book, when she writes her or she makes her appearances or gets her show on MSNBC or wherever she's going to get her show on, she can turn around and say, oh, I was senior advisor to the president. Senior advisor. That's all it is. Don't look too far into it. But it just made me laugh that she's senior advisor. Doesn't that make you feel better if she really was? It's amazing what they will absolutely do. I mean, I guess, It's a nice thing to do if you buy. Let's go with this. Let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about my favorite social media meltdown of the week. Just like people. All that and more right here on the SHR Media Network. Hey, look, don't be afraid. Buy me a cocktail.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Welcome to Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp wit and clear discussion. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality as we fearlessly tackle the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch Reaver of Common Sense in action. He's here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
I've really been watching the Israel still bombarding Hezbollah. I can't imagine that their response to Iran's not going to be soon. I think they wanted to get the memorials done for today and let today be, but they also, in return, the amount of rocket fire. My phone's been going off this whole show because I tracked that just to kind of get my finger on the pulse as to what's going on over there. And it's ramped up, man. It is ramped up. You ever feel bad about yourself today? Let me give you a moment to feel better, because you could be this guy. Yeah. I guess I was released on the day that he was going to into the debate. Could I have found anybody more goofy? I mean, he's literally a cartoon character. He's a Muppet at this point. I mean, what's funny is that idiot that used to be the head of the GOP, Michael Steele, one of his little characters that he has on all of his social media is a Muppet version of himself because he thought it was funny. Tim Walz is the Muppet version of himself. Like, he just is. It's the weirdest. He's the weirdest man. Oh, I still, like I said, I still call him Richard Simmons without the charisma, exercise, or ability to move. Everything else, though, Waltz is a weird cat, dude. Weird cat. So this past Saturday, President Donald J. Trump returned to Butler, Pennsylvania, also known as the scene of the first assassination attempt that we know absolutely so little about the shooter. But we're still there. Still there. And he came back and he brought the house down. My favorite part is he walked up, and we showed it live here on SHR Media. My favorite part is he walked up, and the immigration stats were to his right where they were when he was giving the speech. And he started with, so as I was saying, for I was so rudely interrupted by a 5.56 round before, as I was saying. So he brought Elon Musk on stage. Now, everybody knows Elon Musk has been a Trump supporter. I talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. And the left's going nuts. Oh, you shouldn't be allowed that close and this, that, and the other thing. And like I said, Soros, before, it used to be the Koch brothers. Remember that? Before the Koch brothers exposed themselves for just liking rhinos. Right. And that's all they were dumping money into, is the military industrial complex or whatever. But that's who they supported. And now you have an Elon Musk. Oh, the left hates it. They hate the fact that Elon Musk has saved free speech on X. They hate the fact that he's successful with Starlink. They hate the fact that he's successful with SpaceX, Tesla. What's the Boring Project? I mean, the guy sold flamethrowers at one point. They hate all of that about Elon Musk. Why? Because he has so much money they can't control him. And now the FAA is starting to find reasons to fine him for SpaceX. You didn't do this, you didn't do that, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't care. It's not enough money to matter. They held up Starlink going into the disaster area left by Helene. Well, let me fix that. They held up Starlink last year to be part of a program to be distributed during disasters. They held that up, and then Helene hit, and all of a sudden, Elon's like, yeah, I'll throw out Starlinks all over the place. By the way, nobody's going to pay for at least 30 days. We'll worry about all that down the line, but I'll turn it on so public safety, everyone else has communication. We'll start flooding the area with them. A lot of individual podcasters, and I showed some of it earlier this week or at the end of last week. They great things. Elon Musk has proven that when people are in harm's way, he tries to help the average regular person, right? You look at what he did in Ukraine. Again, does not matter what you feel about the Ukrainian government. What he was doing for the people of Ukraine when they first started getting bombed is he turned on Starlink over there. So the average citizen, the person, doesn't matter what their war preference is or isn't, could have communication. And it's funny what they'll attack Elon Musk on. I saw them going about attacking him about how many kids he had and the fact that he's had children with different people. Okay. It's 2024. That happens all the time. And the one thing you don't see Elon talking about is his religious or personal values. That's private to him. People are going to attack that. Well, how can he be a right wing? Because it's all crazy conservatives and crazy Christians, and he has kids with different baby mamas. I know pastors that have kids with different baby mamas. That's not an exaggeration. I know legitimate pastors that have done that. It happens. Who cares? Who cares? As long as he's doing his job as a father, or is being allowed to, or wants to, that matters, right? So they will attack Elon Musk for absolutely anything now. It's hysterical. They all loved him when he made Tesla, which, by the way, on SHR Media, on Sackheads, I had said that I thought Elon Musk was secretly conservative. Years ago, when Tesla, it was after the Roadster, it was after he put one in space, it was the first couple of models, and just some of the things he was doing pre-COVID, I had said, I think Elon Musk might be more conservative than we're giving him credit for. Even though he voted for Obama, even though he voted for Biden. But I said, there's just something about this dude. And then during COVID, when all the plants were shut down, and the science wasn't supporting that they were shut down in Alameda County, he was like, hey, open this or we're moving. Like, we have work to do. We need to go back to, and there's no, okay. Well, look at what's leaving California. Everything, just about everything, Tesla, SpaceX, he's getting it all out of California. Why? Because they treated him like garbage. That's what Elon Musk does. He doesn't sit there and fight for too long. He just goes, all right, I'm just going to change the situation so it's better for me. Better for my people. You have to applaud that. He absolutely, I think, does what he thinks is right. I always love when I get chats. This is from my friend BZ, by the way, Tuesday and Thursday night right here on the SHR Media Network, the Berserk Bobcat Saloon. He's also on the same social media, YouTube, everything else. You can find him. But he says in the chat room, sadly, I have to admit you're correct about saying you thought Musk was a conservative. I hate it when you're correct. Yep, I know. So many people hate when I'm right. But now I want to talk about one of the most epic meltdowns about Elon Musk. This guy is, man. You want to talk somebody who fell so far out of mental stability. So far out of mental stability. He used to be relevant. Actually, when he just did sports and specifically baseball and analysis, I appreciated his conversation because I thought he did sports well, but he can't stay away from politics. This is Keith Olbermann just doing the crazy, batshit crazy stuff Keith Olbermann does.
On the Monday Countdown podcast, it is now time to cancel all of Elon Musk's government contracts. Tesla, SpaceX, whatever other crap he's selling us. He is now actively engaged in a post-hurricane effort to spread potentially fatal disinformation and misinformation about FEMA's recovery efforts and the impact in the affected states. He is also now working in an in-kind donation, turning Twitter X into a Trump advertising campaign. It's time to cancel all the contracts and reassess his immigration status and hopefully deport him the hell out of the country.
Tell me Elon Musk broke you without telling me he broke you. Holy God. Show me on the doll where Elon Musk touched you, Keith. Show me on the doll, baby. You poor, crazy victim that you're trying to make other people believe that you're a victim. Keith Olbermann's out of his goddamn mind. Deport him. He's a citizen. Reassess his citizenship status. For what? For what? You can't. He's a citizen. No matter what he does now, he's a citizen. Unless yeah. He's a citizen. You remember all of the people that went and fought for ISIS that were American citizens? And you guys said when we were like, well, military tribunals, because they're committing acts of war against Americans. Oh, no. They have American citizenship. He's not committing an act of war. He's not doing anything. Look, these people who want to tell you that if Donald Trump gets elected, the world is going to end are either so absolutely insane that they believe it, or in Keith Olbermann's case, he's trying to just maintain relevancy. He wants you to tune in. He's feeding the mental illness that is Trump derangement syndrome. I don't know if he's actually that crazy. I think he's a great actor. I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of people want to absolutely say, no, he believes that, because you want to believe that he believes that because it explains why he's so crazy in the head. I think it's worse. I think I don't think he likes Trump. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's like secretly going to pull the handle for Trump. I don't think he believes any of the garbage that he spits out. I don't believe it. I think he knows damn well what he's doing, which is getting weak strong-minded liberals to listen to his podcast. Now, look, I am guilty of trying to get strong-minded conservatives to listen to mine. I know there's some weak-minded liberals that will listen to it and get angry. By the way, you can find our podcast on Spreaker and Apple Podcasts and anywhere good podcasts are. I'll be the first to admit that. I am here because I want you to engage and follow me. I am here because I want to spread the word about what's really going on out there. I believe in constitutional values. I hope you do too. I want you to be a free person, even if I don't like what you have to say or do or live your life. I want you to have that freedom. I don't have to agree. Because you can shut the door to your house just like I can shut the door to mine. And whatever you do in there, as long as everyone's legal and above age, I don't give a rat's ass. You bring it into public, in front of kids, whatever, that's a different argument we can have at a different time. Right? Keith Olbermann, I think, just wants to convince you he thinks the republic will end. And that all of a sudden Trump, even though we had 4 years to do it before, will be a dictator this time around. One of the arguments I heard is, well, it's his last time running. It's his last. He'd have to do it now. He could have done it before, and then he wouldn't need to worry about the second time. He wouldn't have got shot campaigning. Not saying he saw that coming, but a lot of us knew during this election that the opportunity to hear the news that somebody took a shot at Trump was very real. And we all warned against it, and it was sad, but it was true. I don't think Olbermann believes that. Do I believe that if Harris becomes president and that if she gets, maybe not this time around, but in 2 years, she gets a Congress who works with her like we've seen in California with supermajorities, if the worst happens, will they start eroding your constitutional rights, your natural rights, where the Constitution says the government may not infringe upon these? That is what it says. As a reminder, I said earlier, I'll say it again, I'll probably say it every show if you let me. Your rights do not come from government. That piece of paper is to tell government that they do not have the right to take that away from you. But they have been trying. That's why I brought Hillary earlier. That's why we talk about all the times they bring up AOC and stuff. Oh, you can limit free speech. For folks, ladies and gentlemen, we saw what they've done with the Second Amendment. Once they feel like they have a little wedge in there, they're going to keep going and going and going, and they absolutely will not stop until you are down on your knees doing government bidding all of the time. You say, oh, it won't happen. Really? When has the good guys in history ever wanted to limit your freedoms and your free speech? When has that happened? Good. Sean at shrmedia.com. SHAUN at shrmedia.com. Email me. When has the good guys ever wanted to disarm its people? Same address. At the number 2 against tyranny. Comment on any of the videos on Twitch, on Rumble. Let me know. And I'm not talking about fire in a theater or something that's an imminent threat to public safety. I'm talking about your freedom to question government, your freedom to protest, your freedom of religion, your freedom to do all of the things that as an individual, as long as your rights are not infringing on somebody else, you have the right to do. Tell me the last time a government has done that and they were the good guys. Most recently, look at Venezuela. It's easy to see where they will go if you will let them go. And it's sad because there are people in this country who 100%, look, I'll tell you, I don't trust government no matter who's in there. Because as soon as they start showing me that they're going to go against the Constitution and my rights, I'm going to be the first one to say something about it. I wasn't happy about everything that any president's ever done, no matter how good a president was. That's okay. You're not supposed to agree all the time. You're supposed to pick somebody who closely reflects your values. And then when you have that difference, you have that right to redress. You have the right to bring it up to them, talk to your representatives. That is what an elective republic government does. That's what it's supposed to do. There's no such thing as a perfect candidate. There's no such thing as a perfect president. But you want somebody who you think the majority of the time that they wake up and go to work every single day is going to represent your values and respect your that is who you want to vote for. From the chat room, the only greatest president would be me, and sadly, I'm not running. BZ, I don't know if I can argue that. Thank you so much for joining us on X, on YouTube, on Rumble, on Twitch. Folks at Twitch, thank you so much. Like, subscribe to SHR Media. Once again, I'm not shy. It's right there. Buy me a cocktail if you don't mind. If you like anything I said or done on the show, don't be afraid to help a brother out. Really. At the number 2 against tyranny. If you're watching on any of the video sites, Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, please like and subscribe, share it, leave a comment, help us out as we try to help more and more. That's going to be it for me here at the Edge of Liberty on the SHR Media Network. I will be back Friday, same time. I may pop in anytime between now and then. If something big happens with Israel and Iran and that looks like it's getting wider, I may pop in and do some live stuff. We'll see what we can pull off. Tuesday, I don't know. Jersey Joe is supposed to be on at 9 East, 6 Pacific tonight. With that storm coming, him prepping, I don't know. He said he didn't think so don't expect it. Tuesday, Thursday night, right here on the SHR Media Network, you do have the Bloviating Bobcats, the Bloviating Zeppelin, Berserk Bobcat Saloon. You can follow BZ's Saloon on Twitter. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for watching us. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Stay safe. Sean at shrmedia.com. Forgot to say that a couple more times in case there's something you want to get on the show for Friday. Let me know. Have a good
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media. Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Join me right here on the SHR Media Network every Monday and Friday, 12 on the Pacific, 3 on the East Coast. On this show, we'll discuss news, politics, the government, how cranky we are about the government, and more. If you want to hear hard talk, good interviews, sarcasm, bad jokes, and, oh, God, that really is me in a nutshell. Either way, check me out right here on the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Friday, 12 Pacific, 3 on the East, on the SHR Media Network.